So Keir Starmer is in trouble, and this time from JK Rowling. I need to get the pronunciation correct. I've got it wrong in the past. I believe her name is Rowling rather than Rowling. And in an article for The Times today, she criticises Keir Starmer for what she perceives as his dismissive and often offensive approach to women's concerns about transgender rights. And it comes to a head with the way she says 3 years ago, she's pointing out a sequence in one of the early leaders' debates. She says 3 years ago, the woman in the studio audience said to Keir Starmer, "You criticised your MP Rosie Duffield for saying only women have a cervix. You recently backtracked on this. What do you believe now, and how do you know how do we know that you will stick to your views?" Servicegate. I remember it well. It was September 2021, and I was sitting at my kitchen table, reading over the chapter I'd finished the day before. The TV was on in the background, my husband was making toast, and I thought I must have misheard what the Labour leader had just said, so I reached for the remote. I rewound the programme and replayed his answer, then rewound and replayed it again. I really wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, you see. I'd been a Labour voter, a member no longer, donor not recently, and campaigner ditto all my adult life. I want to see an end to the long stretch of chaotic and often calamitous Tory rule. I want to vote Labour, but I hadn't heard Starmer wrongly. When asked whether he agreed with Rosie Duffield, he'd responded, "Well, it's something that shouldn't have been said. It is not right." If you catapulted me forwards in time from 1997, the year Labour last succeeded in ending a long stretch of Tory rule, and told me their male leader would appear alive on television dictating what women were allowed to say about their own reproductive systems, I'd have had no frame of reference by which to understand what would have seemed an utterance of outright lunacy. Unfortunately, by 2021, Starmer's answer had to be seen in the context of a Labour Party that not merely saw the rights of women as disposable, but struggled to say what a woman was at all. Take Annalise Dodds, the Shadow Secretary for Women and Equalities, who, when asked what a woman is, said, "It depends on what the context is." Take Yvette Cooper, the Shadow Home Secretary. "I'm not going to get into rabbit holes on this." Stella Creasy, Labour candidate for Walthamstow. "Do I think some women were born with penises? Yes. But they are now women, and I respect that." Emily Thornberry, the Shadow Attorney General. "Women who are trans deserve to be recognised, and yes, therefore some of them will have penises. Frankly, I'm not looking up their skirts, I don't care." Dawn Butler, the former MP for Brent Central, actually announced on TV that a child is born without sex at the beginning. I chose to believe she meant the lesser of two insanities here. Sex, not that children really are delivered by a stork. So Rowling has accused Starmer of abandoning women who are fighting to retain the rights historically secured by feminist movements. She expresses deep distrust in Starmer's judgment and character, stating that she would struggle to vote for a Labour Party led by him because of his stance on those issues. Her concerns are rooted in her belief that Labour under Starmer's leadership has failed to adequately address the complexities and the implications of transgender rights, particularly in retention to women's spaces and rights. And she highlights the tension within the party, citing the treatment of Rosie Duffield, who has faced backlash for her views on gender and sex, and is, like Suella Braverman, apparently avoiding hustings. It's not security. She can be represented by a computer screen and do the thing on Skype or on Zoom or something. There is no excuse for avoiding public scrutiny. In addition, Rowling lambasts male politicians, including Starmer, for pandering to activists and enabling a toxic culture that marginalises women with gender-critical views. And she finds it hypocritical that Starmer now calls for an end to toxic debates because he has contributed to that toxic debate in the first place, and because he has wound up the gender critical voices within his own party. But at the same time, I think he needs to ensure that there is a space for the trans community. And the heated and aggressive approach of J.K. Rowling on this issue is quite intimidating for the trans community. Her critique extends beyond Starmer, and it reflects her broader concerns about the Labour Party, about gender identity, and about the impact on women's rights and protections. But actually, I think it's perfectly possible to maintain both positions, to ensure women are protected and to ensure the trans community in all its diversity is protected. And this has got down to a debate about nomenclature, whereas it should be a debate about people's humanity and about the diversity of humanity. And one of our problems is language, and where we are twisting language to mean one thing rather than another, and where we are using language, where we are redefining words, so those words no longer have the meanings that they had in the past. Words always need to be contextualized, and a word used in one context today may change tomorrow if it's put into a different context. But this absolute definition is dangerous, and it's this absolutism which is the focus of the debate, both in terms of J.K. Rowling's position and in terms of Starmer's response and the Labour position, which is to use language evasively. So neither position is good. Neither position is good.